Hi there, and welcome to Rachiote Mum. It's been a busy couple of weeks, so it's great to be connecting with you again. I'm going to talk today about gender-based violence. It's the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and I know that doesn't seem to have too much to do with child development, but I've been thinking a lot about it. It's a very pertinent topic in South Africa and actually the world over, and something which I find so very heartbreaking. And then on, I think it was about Tuesday, our nanny arrived at work and she told me a horrific story about a lady who works in a garden at a house up the road who was fighting for her life in hospital because her husband had beaten her up. And as we spoke about it and the story unraveled, it's apparently the second time it has happened. And I just said, oh, it's so awful. So she's just essentially going to become another statistic. And we spoke about whether she was pressing charges or not. And it was quite an interesting conversation because we come from different cultural backgrounds. We come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different levels of education. But we're both women, and it was just really nice to connect over the subject. And we spoke a lot about men in our society. She's got a son as well, and we spoke about our roles as mothers and as parents with regard to tackling gender-based violence. And so she always laughs at me because we've got up on our wall, like, with Joey, I've got his good angry choices. So things that when he's angry, to help get the angriness out of his body, what are good choices that he can make. And she's really great and really on board with trying to reinforce all of those things. So we spoke about it, and we spoke about how it seems like in our society, or South Africa specifically, but I guess society at large, this toxic masculinity, this idea that as a man, the only uncomfortable emotion you're really ever allowed to express or feel is anger, and how life is made up of the comfortable and the uncomfortable emotions. And if you don't let children learn to experience and feel and work through uncomfortable emotions, then it really results in adults who make bad, angry choices because the only uncomfortable emotion they know how to feel is anger, specifically men, or particularly men, and then they don't know how to make good choices around that anger, and how anger is part of being human, but what are good ways that you can sort of complete that emotion or complete that feeling. And what is anger just the tip of the iceberg, and what is underlying it. And it was amazing to have this conversation across our cultures and across our education and all of those, but just as mothers and as women, and going, okay, so where do we start tackling gender-based violence? And both of us, it was just so clear to us in our conversation that you start tackling it in childhood, and you start tackling it by giving your sons the skills to process their feelings and their emotions effectively. And the only way you can really do that is through being very present and through social emotional learning. So it was a wonderful reinforcement of that. So there are a few resources that I'm using at home, and I've spoken about some of them before, but I would like to share because they're, I think, a very good starting point. So the first thing is that we have a feelings space or feelings board up at home. It doesn't have to be huge. Ours is just on a wall, and you can do this in a number of ways. I've bought some feeling posters from Heart Matters Academy, and we put those up on the wall, and they have the word and a picture of a child showing the different emotions, and it covers everything from worried to anxious to nervous to excited to disappointed to frustrated to angry. And it really just gives a lot of description of the feelings. But you don't have to have set cards. You could even just cut out pictures from a newspaper or magazine of different expressions. And when my boys are feeling something, we try and talk about it, and I take them to the wall and we look at those pictures. I'll put the link actually for the Heart Matters one in my bio. But we look at those pictures and we talk about what you're feeling, and it's wonderful because it helps them realize that they can be feeling more than one thing at any time. So maybe they're angry, but also maybe they're sad, or maybe they're disappointed and they're angry, and that there's sort of more than one feeling in their heart. It also helps them know that those feelings are all normal and they're all okay. And then we've got a little coping skills box, which we've come up with some things together where we've laminated some pictures, and it's things that help them feel better. So we've got jump on the trampoline, swing on the swing, choose a story, go into your tent. They've got a little safe space tent, have a hug, speak to someone, and those are things that we've identified, and they've got those laminated, the pictures, and they're in the box. So once we've sort of named it, it's not that there's the expression name it to tame it. It's not that the feeling goes away, but once you've named it, you can start taming it, and that's the next process. So once we've spoken about how they're feeling and they've identified how they're feeling, we go to the box and we're like, okay, so what's going to make you feel better? What good angry choice can you make, or what good sad choice can you make? And just helping them through that regulatory process. And that's working really well. It works really well even with my 3-year-old. So just starting that from a young age. Another really useful thing is with my 5-year-old, he gets really frustrated and really angry, and he really is a really physical reaction, and we know this. I mean, when I get angry, I clench my jaw, my shoulders get tense when I'm stressed. So there's a very much a body component to it. So we've together created some physical things that he can do when he gets angry, and we drew a picture and we wrote it down, and we've stuck that up on the wall as well. So when he's angry, I'm like, my boy, you need to make a good angry choice. I can see you feeling this in your body. What can we do? We go to that wall, and he's got things like suck a piece of ice, or hide in his little hole. He's got a hole between 2 couches that he likes to go in. So really helping him choose one of those things, and then re-looking at it. Is that anger still in your body? Do you feel like it's out of your body? Shouting to a pillow is another one we've got. So that's just also a really nice resource for helping with anger and helping them learn to identify how they're feeling, and then to do something with it that is a good angry choice. So yeah, those are 2 of the things. A third thing is to have a focus word, a social emotional focus word. So every week we change our focus word, and we just have it up on the fridge. This week we have heart sores and body sores. So when because I'd noticed that there were some nasty things being said. So we talk about, well, when you hurt yourself, it's a heart sore, a body sore, but your heart can get sore as well. So what do you do? What causes a heart sore? When you're feeling hurt, are you feeling sad at the moment? Is that because you've got a body sore or a heart sore? So just really helping them identify how they're feeling. Just remembering that with emotional intelligence, the first pillar of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So really just helping them learn that self-awareness. Anyway, I think that if all schools and parents could focus on just those few things, helping our men, our young boys identify how they're feeling and make good choices around how to deal with those feelings, in generations to come, we will really reduce the gender-based violence. So I hope that's useful. Please share it. Please like it. Please give me a comment if you find it useful. I think the more we can get the message out there, the better. As I said, link for those feelings posters in my bio, so go and have a look. They're really beautiful, and I found them so useful at home. Have a wonderful day, and let's all spread the word of activism and the movement against gender-based violence on these 16 days. Well, we should always do it, but now it's just bringing it to the fore, and just remembering that from very young, teaching our children that violence is not the way to solve conflict, and that all feelings are welcome in our heart. It's how we deal with them that's important. Will help shape the adults they become, which will help shape our society. Okay, something I'm passionate about. Have a wonderful week further, and we'll check in again with you soon.